Hi guys, okay, in this video I'm going to take a hex file from my computer, load it up using MPLAB 8.92 and use an ICD2 which is connected to my PC using a USB to download the hex file into the instruction memory on a PIC16F877. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what's on my screen. And here we have MPLAB when it's actually first started up. Now, when started up, a lot of times it's quite blank. And what you need to do is go to the view menu and either show the project tree or the output. So I'm going to just look at the output here so that we can look at MPLAB state as fast as doing things that we're asking it to do. And what's to follow is a simple 3-step program. What we're going to do is we're going to set up MPLAB to be able to do the job that we want. Then we're going to set up the ICD to be able to take the program that MPLAB is pushing towards the final target device. And then finally, we're going to just dump the program onto the PIC once everything is all nice and set up, right? So in order to do the first step, we want to configure MPLAB. So go on configure. First thing I have to do is make sure we have the correct device selected. 16F877. Once you've ascertained that that is done, you want to also check the configuration bits. To do that, we want to go and uncheck this checkbox which says it's set in code, because we're not doing that. So for the settings, for the oscillator, I'm going to use XC because we have a 4 megahertz oscillator clock on my board. For the rest of the configuration bits, the simple rule is if we're not using it, we're going to just disable it, right? So watchdog timer, I'm just going to disable. The power up timer, disable. This is off. The brownout reset, we're going to disable that. We use master clear for programming. Code protection is off, and finally make sure the flash program memory is also not writable. Once all the configuration bits are now set, you can exit out of that. And then finally, we want to import the hex file. So I just go File, Import. And what I do is just shift to wherever you have hex file stored and import it into MPLAB. And there we have it. That's the first step done. MPLAB is now configured to actually dump it on the board. Next, we're going to set up the ICD. In order to set up the ICD, what I'm going to do is we have to load it first. You can load it as either debugger or programmer. On the debugger, you can also select this. But for the purposes of today, we're going to select the programmer and load it. All right. So now the MPLAB knows that we're going to use an ICD2. So I'm going to try to connect it. And what's going to happen is we're going to get an error message. This error message, in this case, comes up because I have not connected the ICD to my target device. So I'm going to disconnect it to the header of the PIC board, right? Other reasons why this error message might pop up is that you may not have the target board powered, or you might actually have the wrong PIC on the header. Okay, so just be sure to look out for that. All right, notice when we're now connected, you notice that the ICD actually does a self-test, right? The ICD checks itself to make sure it's all fine and dandy. If that fails, what we do is we can look at the settings for the ICD. You notice it's actually reporting on the various voltage levels that the ICD itself is actually has, right? Well, that's it in a nutshell. So now the ICD is all set up. The next thing we want to do now that the ICD is set up is try to program the device, where we could actually just press this button here to program. Alternatively, we'll go in the menu and actually select program from here. All right, it says program succeeded. And the last thing to do once the program is now downloaded is to click this button here, which says release from reset. and that releases the PIC, and we can actually disconnect our ICD because it's now programmed, and even if the device is powered down, it will retain the program in the flash memory on board. That's it. Thanks for watching.